Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Right. Denise alluded to the long-range property planning process. I had the pleasure of chairing that process. I'm going to emphasize the term long. But I think in terms of my grandson, his conception, his birth, and almost his first birthday during this process. So it was definitely a long process. While I was the chair, there were about 100 people involved in this process, and I'd like to call out 4 or 5 names. Lisa Morse, in particular, your board member, Elaine Marcotte, and Carol O'Connell, who's in the back, and Sarah Provozic, who worked an extraordinary number of hours to help reach us to a successful conclusion. Now, as part of this process, the Property Subcommittee developed a philosophy back in 2008 and adopted by the board, and I think it's important to take away to recall what that was. GSSEM will sufficiently fund camps, offices, and program sites located in key areas while exercising, I emphasize, fiscal responsibility and maximizing site and facility usage. So, we started with this process, and we held a number of orientation meetings at 4 locations. I think one of them was in this building back in June of 2009. We had over 70 volunteers in this process. 2 other people, by the way, Bill Senstock and Abby Wattenberg, were really the backbone of this. So actually, I'd like some applause for those folks. Those 70 people were divided up into a property committee, a market committee, and a program committee. They met every 2 weeks for a 4 and some maybe 5-month period. If you can imagine that, Sundays, Thursday nights, Saturdays, it was unbelievable. We held 2 retreats, all-day retreats, in December, and it's not 1999, it's actually 2010. The second all-day meeting in February. We had 4 town hall meetings where we invited all of you and everybody else in the community to attend, give us input. We went on 3 field trips. These were all-day field trips. We visited every camp. We visited every office, including the Timbers facility. And we had excellent attendance. Ultimately, we prepared recommendations, and those recommendations were adopted by the board in 2010. Yes. The ultimate conclusion of the property committee is this: we were over property. We had excess office space, and we had excess camps. The board, after our presentation, has come up with, we made a number of recommendations, and here are the goals and things that we accomplished. Number 1 goal is to dispose of the excess property for a fair sales price. We're to create better troop camping at remaining properties when funds become available. We are to create less office space in more places and to use modern technology, and we're very far along in that process. We're to maintain council shops, that was of critical importance to our members, and to maintain meeting rooms around the region and secure office space in Monroe County. And we have accomplished many things. We acquired the Monroe office space, that was so important to us. The Timbers camp, after a year and a half really of discussions, is now under auction with Grand Traverse Regional Land Conservancy. We don't have a binding deal yet. We don't have the money. It's in excess of $3 million. But we are very optimistic that that the option will be exercised and that deal will close. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. We've listed for sale the Flint Service Center. We've listed for sale the Macomb Service Center. And in addition, recently your board approved the listing of Camp Metamora and the southerly half of Camp Industry. Camp Metamora is listed for approximately $5.5 million. It's an optimistic number. Those of you that have $5.5 million, I would like to congratulate you. Our committee continues its work We are always updating our goals. We're always seeking input, and we would appreciate any additional input from you today. Any questions? Yes, in the back. Well, the question is, what are the long-term plans for Camp Fairwinds? Camp Fairwinds is located in Lapeer County. It continues to be used on a limited basis. During our process, we spend a lot of time discussing Camp Fairwinds. There's a reverter clause on 2 of the 10 parcels. In other words, we're not able to sell that property. And so our current plans are to retain that property. What's unique about it is it has a lake and a beautiful swimming pool. I would consider that property to be one of our nicest properties. Any other questions? Okay.
In this, where you say 1/2 of the camp is listed, is it part of, is it empty, with undeveloped property? Is it, a property that includes buildings? I'm just curious, is it?
The
Not
question is
but,
a general question referencing the Camp Metamora property. Industry. In the southerly half. That property consists of about 1,000 acres of land. And during the long-range property planning process, it was determined that it's almost too large for the number of people that we have. On the north side of the horse facilities, we have our giant dining hall, which cost in excess of $2 million a few years ago. And the southerly half, while it has the lake, it's probably the least used portion of the property. The reason we've listed these properties is to see what kind of interest there is. We're in one of the worst real estate cycles ever in the history of this state. We don't want to give away any property, so this is sort of a testing the market and see what kind of interest we can generate.
But it's the southerly?
The southerly portion. Yeah, we have a couple of troop houses, but all the main buildings are on the north side.
Okay.
Yes, in the back.
I'm curious to know since all the price increases with camp, if we've seen utilization increase. Because camp is really short as far as a troop being able to go and utilize all the facilities. I'm just curious as far as, are camps struggling because people can't afford to go?
Denise will answer that.
There's a couple ways to answer that question. The question was, with rising prices, is utilization is going down. Utilization is just going down, and regardless of the prices in Girl Scout camps. It's not going down in YMCA camps, and YMCA camps charge way more than what we do. The fact is, when I first got here, and you saw we have about a $10 million budget, we were subsidizing the camps to the tune of about $2.5 million a year. When we had my budget of $20 million a year, we could afford to do that. But now we're half that size, we can no longer afford to subsidize camps. So what we have tried to do is to do modest increases, not capturing our costs. We've got a system where people are asked to pay the A rate, which is close to our actual cost. There's a B rate that is a little bump up from the year before, and then we also are going to be able to scholarship some of this. And you'll be interested to know, for the 2 years that we have done this, that close to 20% of people have paid the A rate. So there are people who can afford to pay the A rate. If we have more people pay the actual rate, then we have more money available to scholarship the kids that can't afford it, and that's just what it is. The gravity works for everybody in the sense that income and expense, we have to balance. We have to balance our budget. So I'm hoping that answers your question. I know it's hard.
Actually, my question is more geared towards troop camp, not resident camp.
Here's the thing. Troop camping, has troop camping gone down? No, it hasn't. Because I have to ask you, where are you going to go and get food and experience and so on and so forth? And those camps are only available, 90 days a year? And yet we're heating the buildings 365 days a year. We're feeding the horses 365 days a year. We cannot subsidize, keep taking as much out of our budget to subsidize a couple thousand girls when we have 35,000 girls, and when most girls don't camp. We can't take half, 25% or 30 or 40% of our budget when only 5% of our girls go camping. Yes, ma'am?
I just know for us, so twice a year,
Uh-huh.
we're talking about not even going.
Okay.
The price is so high that for us to utilize what we want to do, we just can't afford to do it.
I'm very sorry, but I will also tell you that we've got a ton of members that go to YMCA camps as well and pay more money. So it's kind of a vicious circle. And I just got a card.
I think that's it. Thank you.